Hey everyone and welcome. In today's video we're gonna create this scene inside of Unreal Engine. We're gonna go over a bunch of features like using Heightmaps to create landscapes, materials, water system and much more. And if you are new to the channel and want more content about CGI game development, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. So let's get started. I'm gonna create a new project using the third-person template, the started content, and I'm gonna enable the ray tracing as well. The first step inside of Unreal will be import the Heightmaps. The Heightmap is in the description below, and if you wanna learn how to create your own Heightmaps, there is this video that I show how can we create Heightmaps and layer masks inside of Gaea. So let's import the Heightmap. I need to go here, I'm gonna create a new level, so I'm gonna choose the basic template. Just because we already have some light set up, I'm gonna delete this shape. We're gonna change the lights afterwards. And here you need to change from selection mode to landscape mode and then go in manage, new, and import from file. In the import from file, there is the Heightmap file. I need to choose the Heightmap file. This is the erosion nodes that I create in Gaea, and we just need to check some setup. So the Heightmap resolution is this one, 1009, is the same that I import in Gaea. The material don't have yet. The layer alpha map is additive, it's correct. Enable edit layers is check. And here in the scale, I'm gonna change the scale for the size that I want. So right now, if you keep the scale in 100, this terrain will be 1 kilometers to 1 kilometers, but you can change proportionally. You can change like 500, 500, and 500. Would be a 5 kilometers terrain to 5 kilometers. But for this scene specific, I'm gonna change the scale to 20 and create a landscape for just 200 meters to 200 meters. Because it's a small scene, you don't need to create that big of terrain, but you are free to use the scale that you want. So now I'm gonna click import. We already have our terrain. The terrain is usually the import from Gaea. The terrain is really down below. I'm gonna up a little bit to let the terrain close to the 0. To use the water system plugin, you need to enable the plugin before. So go to plugins and search for water, and then click on both. Yeah. And I'm gonna enable the movie render queue as well. It's another plugin that we're gonna use to create our video afterwards. And then we need to restart the engine. Sometimes you have this error when you enable the plugin. I just click in add entry and it works. Now that you have the water plugin system enabled, let's start creating our river. I'm gonna start trying to placing and make a block out just to understand better the scene composition. You can see that in this valley, probably you're gonna have our cabin, and our river is gonna pass through here in front of the cabin. I'm gonna create a cube before we import the cabin. And now let's create our river. Create our river, need to go in the cube here and type water, and we're gonna see there is water body river. So just drag and drop, and you need to shape the river the way you want. To shape the river, you need to start clicking on this dot in the spline. If you want to create another dot to change the spline, one of the dots and click out and drag, and you create another dot. Also, you need to change a few configurations. So to do that, you need to go here in water body river. I'm gonna click on one of the dots. I'm gonna type water. I'm gonna change the depth to something about 3 meters. Right now the river is too wide. We need to go in the terrain and change the fall off mode to angle. If you have this problem that I'm having right now, you need to click in the line, the dot, to make something like this. We already have roughed the shape of the scene right now. Let's change the water material for something more dark. To change the water material, you need to go down in the parameters and have water material over here, and you need to click here. What you're gonna do is, if you change this file here, this material instance, you're gonna change the water in all projects, and every time you're gonna use the water, you're gonna apply the change that you made. I don't want that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drag and drop for my content folder, and I'm gonna choose copy here. If in my content folder I have this water material river, I'm gonna change the name just to some clarity. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in the river again. So now I need to change the material for the material that I just copied. So go here in water material and change. Now you have a bunch of parameters that you can change. The parameters that are most important is the distortion. We need to make this color a little bit darker, but right now it doesn't seem like water, and to change that you just need to increase the alpha. Now there's some transparency. So yeah, we're gonna tweak that once you have the material applied in the landscape, but right now I believe a value between 50 and 80 would be good enough. And now we have our river. Now that you have our river, let's start creating the landscape material. Now we're going to start creating our landscape material. Landscape materials are slightly different than regular materials, and I'm gonna go back to Unreal and show how can we do the snow and the rock. By the way, if you never used materials inside of Unreal before, I have this video that can help you to understand better how things work inside of Unreal. Now let's start create our material. To create our material, we're gonna create a folder, just keep things organized. I'm gonna create our, let's start creating our material. I'm gonna create real quick a folder, just keep things organized. Materials, and here create a material and landscape. And the first thing that I need to do is grab our textures. Here, mag scan assets, you have to create landscape materials, I use a slightly different approach. The first thing that I do, I don't use this output node. Instead, I use material attributes, and then I'm gonna search for the node set material attributes. And here I just gonna put the attributes that I'm gonna need. So I'm gonna need the basic color, the roughness, and the normal for sure. Maybe you're gonna need ambient occlusion and specular, but you can add later on. So it's a slight smaller, is more organized. And the other thing, I need to do that if I want to blend between two materials and create masks, so on. So it's easier to do it this way. So starting really simple, I can go here, and that's the normal. This our D map have three maps. So the first one would be the ambient occlusion, and then the roughness, and then the displacement. I'm gonna use just roughness now, and I'm gonna hit apply. I'm gonna apply this material real quick, just so let's keep going. The first thing that I'm gonna do is have a tiling control, because right now the tiling is really small for the for the landscape, and also you can see clearer the repetition. Let's solve these two problems first, the tiling control and the texture repetition. To do that, I need to change here a little bit. We're gonna use a node called texture variation. There are other nodes and other ways to create texture variation. There is, for instance, the texture bombing. It's also good, or you can use a macro variation, but in this case I'm gonna use the texture variation. I believe is good enough. And to control the tiling, I just need to create a multiply node, set default 1. The texture variation node gonna handle how can we repeat and break the UV of the landscape. So if I use the multiply node with some vector, I can increase the tiling automatically. Other thing that you need to do in order to use the texture variation, I need to check textures from none to derivative. And now we can see that the tiling is a little bit bigger, which is good, but you can control now. Let's see if we do that. Slightly smaller. And the other thing, now you don't have the tiling anymore. So 2 problems solved. Other thing that would be useful to do is have some control in the normals. To control the normals, I'm gonna mask the R and the G value, the component mask. So I need the R and the G value, and to multiply this information. So this vector will be the normal strength, and I need to create another component mask to the B value, grab the information in the bit channel, and append with the R and the G with the multiplier. Again, I'm gonna hit apply to see if the normal is working. So if I decrease to 0, it's completely flat surface. If I increase to 5, it would be too much normal. I believe 1 is a good value. I'm gonna set 1. Okay, we can always tweak later. Now you need to do the same thing for the rock. So we're gonna time lapse real quick here, because I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. Okay, now I did the same thing for the rock, and I'm gonna create as well some roughness control. I forgot to do that. To create the roughness control, we need a min and a maximum values and an alpha. So I need to use the lerp node. I have the linear interpolate, and I use the mask as an alpha, and I can control the minimum and the max roughness directly in the lerp node. Okay, now you have the problem that somehow we need to use the 2 materials at the same time. Right now, if I go here, you can see just a snow, because in this landscape node, which is the output, there is just 1 plug. So I need somehow have a way to plug 2 materials in this landscape. And the way that you can do that is using another node called blend material attributes. What does this blend material attributes do? Well, we can have 2 materials, so it will be plug 1 material in the A socket and the B, and the other in the B socket, and you need to create a mask to use as an alpha. I'm gonna program this mask to tell when you need to use the A material and when you need to use the B material. So to do that, we need to first, I'm gonna just keep things organized, creating a reroute node. I'm gonna do the same thing for the rock. Now we're gonna use the snow here. By the way, this is just a way to reference all these blueprints in just one node, just to be more readable. So I'm gonna plug the snow in the A, and the rock in the B, and plug the blend material attributes in the output, the final output of the material. If I hit apply, nothing is going to happen just yet. That's because you don't have a mask in the alpha right now, but you're gonna do that right now. There is another node that is really handy. The name is a slope mask. So we're gonna use these nodes to create our alpha. We're gonna plug here. So we're gonna need some parameters. The first one is the tangent normal. So there is this node called vertex normal. This node checks in the mesh the vertex normal, and then we can plug here. We need a vector tree node to tell Unreal which slope angle do you want to make the blend in the alpha. And we need two more parameters. The fall off will be how strong will be the transition between one material to another. The ship contrast will be how white and black will be the mask in the alpha. I see that right now. So what I'm doing here, I'm using these nodes to check each vertex normal direction in the landscape, and I'm telling with this slope mask, depending of the direction of this vertex normal, which material I want to put in that specific vertex. So if I change here the slope angle to 0.5, I'm gonna create much more rock because I'm telling that we don't need that steep angle to create the rock. So if I put 0.8, I'm gonna have more snow because we need a steeper angle to blend between the snow and the rock. The same thing if I set that for a smaller value, gonna be pretty much everything rock, because I'm telling that I just need a really small angle in the vertex normal direction to blend between the A and the B material. And there we have it. Also can tweak these two other values. I can decrease the contrast. We're gonna have a really blend material between, you need a really flat surface or a really steep slope to have just snow or just rock. But if I increase the ship contrast, there is more easy to see, you're gonna see a difference between rock and snow. And now you have also the fall off. So now you have our blend material. I believe I need to change the landscape because right now it's not natural. I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we can start importing our cabin and work on the foliage. And you can see right now when I'm changing, even though we create the landscape in Gaea, every time we change the slope of the landscape, automatically gonna blend between snow and rock. If I flat here, it'll be more snow and it'll be automatically. So that's really handy because you can create your landscape in Gaea and then just change a little with the landscape features in the landscape features in Unreal. Now the landscape is more realistic. Probably we're gonna need to make a few tweaks later on, but let's see. And now it's time to import our cabin. We're gonna find the cabin in the description below in the Sketchfab link with all the attributions for the artist who made this cabin. It's really simple, and also you can use another program, 3ds Max, Maya, and so on. So we're gonna hit import and go to Object. So I import the cabin. Before I convert to FBX, I'm gonna just fix the pivot point. In the center, I believe will be fine. I'm gonna set the cabin to the origin. After I fix the pivot point, you can see here in the dimension that the cabin is really big right now. Yeah, I'm gonna change this size, and in Unreal we can tweak the scale a little bit. Probably it's still too big. Export, FBX, export. I believe it's off scale. See some mannequin on the starter content. Try to match the scale. I'm gonna create a camera. So let's create this camera actor. The camera gonna change a few things just to try to place the cabin in a nice place. Now it's time to work on the foliage and the overall composition of the scene. Now I'm gonna download some tree packages from Unreal Marketplace. There are a few good ones. If you type Mexican trees, this one, Mexican trees Norway, is pretty good. And also I'm gonna download this one, Mexican trees European. And I'm gonna search for some background landscape just to compose the scene. These landscape backgrounds are free and they are pretty good. And let's go back to Unreal. So to work on the foliage, you need to change from selection mode to foliage mode. And here you need to drag and drop the trees that you want to work on. This is same backholder field 4. That makes sense. So fine. And then you can start working placing the trees. To place the trees, I'm gonna change a few settings. So I'm gonna change the density to 1. The scale, I'm gonna create some variation. And I'm gonna uncheck the align to normal. Yeah, I believe that's it. I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. Okay, now let's use the background as well. Now let's use the background landscapes. Now that we have our background mountains and trees, we need to do two things. The first one, I don't like this wind, so we're gonna deactivate the wind. And also we need to make the trees more like a winter tree. Right now it's too green. So to do that, we need to go in the MS presets, and then we need to go to mass foliage material, global foliage actor, and then I need to drag and drop to the level. By the way, this preset here just work in Mexican trees, so if you try to use other kind of tree, that won't work. We need to change a few configurations. The first thing, I'm gonna disable the wind, so we don't have the wind anymore. The trees are stand still. And now we need to change the season and health. The health I'm gonna decrease to maybe not 1, maybe 5. And now we need to decrease the saturation and increase the brightness. I believe something like that would be good. Now I need to make some tweaks on the landscape material, maybe change the normal maps, maybe change the texture, change the river a little bit, make a few tweaks on the landscape. But that's an opportunity to you create the scene with your own flavor. So yeah, do something that you find nice. After that, I need to tweak a little bit the lighting. So we're gonna create a post-process volume. Right now, the light is too summer to me, so we're gonna change the light as well. So we're gonna go here in directional light, which is our sun. I need to make the temperature higher to have a more bluish color. It's more winter. The exponential high fog I can use a little. So yeah, I believe I already have the moods that are like. I just need to make a few tweaks, and after I made a few tweaks, I need to create the sequencer and make the render. Now it's up to you to make the tweaks that you wanna make in your scene, and to create your sequencer to make a render. I need to go here, cinematics, level sequencer, open. I need to find the camera that we already create. Now it's just a matter to place the points in the video, which kind of video we wanna make, and also it's opportunity to make a few more tricks depending the kind of video that you want to make. So yeah, let's create our video. So the starting point of the camera can be somewhere around here, and I'm gonna click the transform. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit more. Maybe here's the position. And I'm gonna change again. And it's up to you to create the scene that makes sense. And after we create the video, to make a render, we need to go on Windows, Cinematics, Move Render Queue, find your sequencer. In here, we need to change a few things. Anti-aliasing. So I'm gonna let the XCR, and the anti-aliasing, it's a really good quality, 16 by 16, but gonna take forever to render. So depend your machine. If you have a low budget machine, it's good to decrease. I've set the spatial sample count to 2. Game override to don't need anything. Resolution gonna change nothing. Here you can choose the resolution that you want. You need to search for a folder that you want to save the image sequencer. In the file format, I'm gonna take off the ultra because it'd be easier to create a video afterwards in Adobe Premiere or some software like that. 30 FPS instead of 24, but again, you can make 60 FPS, 24 FPS. It's up to you. No playback range. And the last thing that I'm gonna add will be the console variables. And here I'm gonna search for screen percentage, and I'm gonna set to 200. We're gonna have a more crispy render. Accept, and then click in render local, and you're gonna render your video. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments if you like it of the tutorial. If you have any questions about it, I will be glad to help. See you in the next one.